Every coffee needs a lotus.
And welcome back to our HR Summit. Now, this time, the Philippine HR Summit is brought to you virtually and powered by Ariva Academy. We thank you for joining us for today's webinar under the tutelage of Sir Jason Averbook. I have been seeing a lot of appreciations, not only here in the Zoom room, but also via Facebook Live, which we are monitoring right now. We're also live streaming via YouTube and via LinkedIn. And the second part, before we proceed to that, which is the Q&A, we'd like to appreciate you for supporting our frontliners. This initiative has been thought of carefully by our President, Ms. Irish Malonda, and our dear CEO, Sir J.M. Matienzo. We would like to help you out. We would like to reach out to you during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is a Learn and Share webinar series, which started last April, early on in April. And this is the call of the moment for us to give back. Well, we appreciated you loving us and being loyal to us when we were able to organize live events and do in-house seminars. So this is our way of giving back to you. Now, we'd like you to pay it forward by providing you with a platform where you can, with your generous donation, whether it's just $1, $10, or $2, whatever amount you'd like to share, as you gain access for free to our live webinars, you can pay forward by donating to the people who are in need through the Bayanihan Act 2020 or the Coming Together of Heroes, so that we can help the poorest of the poor. Together, let us show our support to our fellow Filipinos who are in survival mode during this difficult time of the global health crisis. So act now and let us click and donate via the www.ariva.com.ph/donation. We thank you in advance for your generosity. Now, Sir Jason, before we entertain the questions, I would like to greet our birthday celebrants. We'd like to greet Coach Bernard Marquez. Happy birthday, Coach. And at the same time, Miss Pasita Guinness. Happy birthday. Early on, Sir Jason, we mentioned the people or the places where you're being seen worldwide. Now we're going to mention some key cities and provinces where our people are participating from. Antipolo, Baguio City, Batangas, Cagayan de Oro City, Cavite City, Davao City, General Santos City, Iloilo, Laguna, Pampanga, Pangasinan, Quezon Province, Tuguegarao City, and Zamboanga City. So, sir, you have a lot of fans here in the Philippines.
Good. I'm glad it's good to be here.
So we'd like to encourage you once again to type in your question for the Zoom participants at the Q&A box. You can do the live question as well. Click the raise hand button to notify the administrator so we can call you. And we hopefully want to hear and see you ask the question yourself. Now, for the Facebook Live viewers, we are monitoring the comment section. So you can type in all your questions. It will be forwarded to us by our team, technical team, and we'll do our best to read them all. So let's start off with the question, present question. Will it be okay, sir?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a lot of questions from Jeneline Tote or Tote. How do we function effectively as an HR practitioner in the new normal of working arrangement during COVID-19 outbreak, particularly in the Philippines?
Yeah. And, oops, sorry, go ahead.
And if you may also answer this, how do we manage taking care of the employees by not jeopardizing the company's finances and at the same time the health of their employees?
Yeah, so great question, and this is something that HR leaders this is frontline HR people are dealing with all over the world, and I'd say one of the most important things that we have to keep in mind is that we have to lead with empathy, and that's really, really easy. So I want to make sure I explain in a second. So a lot of people think that in HR, people don't love HR. A lot of people think that HR is just HR. It's a department. This is our time to make HR really be a function that people really see the human side of the department, the human side of HR. So what I encourage that you think about how every time you interact with an employee, you're not answering a question, you're creating an experience. You're creating an experience, and throughout that experience, you're showing off and showing the employees the empathy side of the human side of HR. Now, if you do that, it opens up a whole new channel for you to drive new communication, a whole new channel for you to measure the success rate of the function. And at the end of the day, people are going to say, wow, that function stepped up to help us, during this time that we needed help as employees. So lead with empathy, lead with the human side. The question about how do we not jeopardize the financial side of the business, I truly, truly believe the way that HR organizations don't jeopardize the financial side of the business is by focus. It's by focusing. There's things that have to happen in order to keep the business running. And the empathy side and the making people count is one of them. It's more important than probably 70% of the things that we do in HR on a day-to-day basis. Maybe 50%, depending on your organization. But that's why the refocus is important. Okay? If I'm a firefighter and I have one house that's on fire and another house that's not on fire, where do I go? I go to the house that's on fire. In this case, where do I go? I go to my people. I move for my people at the time that they need it. And every single conversation, every single day before you shut the laptop or before you turn off the computer or before you put your head down, reach out to one more employee and just ask them how they are. And if you do that, it'll make a world of difference.
Wonderful. That's a beautiful answer, sir. Now, from an anonymous attendee, what is the now of work in the academe and education? Because here in the Philippines, we'll be opening the schools come August 24, and people are fearful, especially for their kids and when they come home to their grandparents.
So, that's a combination of the now of work, but also the now of life. And your question, and to answer your question very specifically, we're watching, and I shared this earlier, we're watching a train go by and we don't know what's on the other side of the train. Once the train goes by, we don't actually know what it looks like. So the question about what does the now of life look like it's going to be different, and I think it's really important to understand that it's going to be different. I have two boys; they're 15 and 12. They've both been home from school for 4 months. They don't know if they're going back to school. We here in Los Angeles have had our highest number of coronavirus cases today that we've ever had, and yet we have we don't have a date when kids will go back to school. We're hoping the kids will go back to school the same date, August 24th. But what that looks like, none of us know. What's most important to keep in mind is that this is an ecosystem. Life is an ecosystem. So whether our kids go back to school or not has a big impact on how people work. And whether our kids go back to school, it's going to have a big impact on, in a lot of areas where grandparents do live with the families. How do I take care of those people? So it's really, really important that I think about that concept of putting in place the wires, putting in place the pipes to make sure that I can drive, this digital world and be able to continue to work under whatever circumstance, is given to us, over the next year or so, and really think about, there's someone just put in the chat that it caught my attention.
Okay.
How it's why I try to look at the camera instead of the chat, because I get distracted. But I love the chat. Adopting digital technology should be implemented now. So I love the comment, but as much as adopting, I'm going to say adapting is more important. The organization and organization, and this goes for schools too. Organizations and entities have to adapt before people adopt. Okay. I just can't put something out there and say, hey, adopt this. But guess what? We're still going to operate the same way we've always operated. It won't work in that case. So people and organizations have to adapt. And if they adapt, then we'll be able to adopt and people will start adopting. And that's really goes back to the mindset of what is it that I'm trying to do. I personally, I'll just say, I think that every entity, every organization should be preparing themselves for the fact that people are going to work distributed for as long as we work, which means I need to be putting in place those paths and those avenues to make sure that people can work that way. And I need to be saying, hey, if it requires person-to-person contact, and this is not because of the virus, like eventually, you guys, this virus thing, we're going to remember it. It's going to be in books and articles. But the reason that work changed, this is the precipice of it. This is the thing that caused it. But why things are going to continue the way they are going forward is not going to be because people are contagious with a virus. It's going to be because we've changed as humans how people work. The same thing happened after terrorist attacks in 9/11. From a security standpoint here in the United States, we didn't have security at airports. Guess what? Now we have security at airports. There's a lot of people that don't know why we have security at airports right now. We just do. But it was because something changed. So a change always causes an action and an outcome. And I truly believe that the outcome of this is a distributed work model that, to be honest with you, I think probably 5 years from now, we're going to look back and say, wow, that really kicked us in the butt, and moved us forward.
Thank you, Sir Jason. Now, from Iris Hamada, based on the discussion, what do you think are the top most important skills that HR needs to develop now?
So I'm going to pick on three. The first one is what I talked about earlier, which is adaptability. And the key component of adaptability is the ability to be agile, the ability to unlearn, and the ability to relearn. So number one is adaptability. Number two is the concept of how do I think about design? Okay, so we in business have so often designed for us. instead of designing for employees, managers, and leaders. And the concept of design thinking and personas and journeys, everything that's gone into making B2C somewhat successful is going to be key for HR people to create what I call B2Me, which is how do I create the connection between the business and me from a personal and personalization standpoint. So the second thing I would say is design thinking. The third thing I would say is storytelling. So we are going to have, as a result of the digital transformation of this function, more data than we've ever had before. And I can already see what's going to happen. There's going to be people that are going to just throw this data out to the world, and people are not going to know what to do with it. So if I would have given you, that information about how many people were green, yellow, and red, would you know what to do with that information? Most managers and leaders wouldn't know what to do. So being able, as an HR person, to tell a story, not in the language of HR, but in the language of the person talking to, the business leader, the business line, the line manager, the person that's dealing with employees every day, being able to tell stories about data is so key.
Thank you, Sir Jason. Now, from Jess Von Bank, we've challenged a lot of assumptions in the last 2 months, where people can work, how productive they can be in a distributed model, even how work can be structured and compensated to allow people to get it done most effectively. What other assumptions are you hoping we challenge or even blow up?
Oh, man. Oh, what a great question. A wide open question. So, I think that we have so much work to do in the area of careers. I think that we still think that people want careers with one company, and they don't. I think that people still think that when they go to a website, they click on careers and like, I just want a job. So I think we need to change the concept of careers. We need to change the concepts of jobs, start breaking jobs into tasks and thinking about what's the best way to get work done. What's the best way to get work done? So truly rethinking my talent strategy. And I didn't say talent management strategy. I said talent strategy. So for example, in the Philippines, if I need someone who is really, really good at taking data and being able to tell stories about it, do I need to hire them from the Philippines? No. Should I? Maybe. Do I need to have that person come to the office every day? No. Do I think I need them to come to the office every day? Maybe. So first of all, to answer your question, what's so important for us to rethink is the role of talent. The role of talent. The second thing that I'd like us to rethink that goes along with that is the concept of diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
And making sure that diversity and inclusion, as I rethink talent, is not something that's separate. Like that hiring, firing, promoting, training, all of that stuff, diversity and inclusion needs to be infused into those capabilities. Not, I'm going to do all those things and then, oh yeah, here's the diversity and inclusion that's going to come along and be a patchwork thing. When I do that, it seems like a special needs program. It's not that. My whole talent strategy needs to have diversity and inclusion infused in it from day zero. Okay, and I'm not talking only about genders. I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about diversity of thought and inclusivity of how do people actually do and come up with what this now of work looks like. So that would be the second thing. The third thing that I think is going to blow up, or I would love to blow up. I'm not going to blow it up. It's already blowing up. is the concept of learning and training.
Okay.
Learning and training and education is so broken. I mean, having people go through a class and, if you think about back to the concept I mentioned earlier, it's 2020 outside of work. What is it inside of work? If I want to figure out how to do something outside of work, what do? I go to a website called Google or go to a website called YouTube and figure out how to do it. When I want to learn something at work, what do? Oh, there's no training programs here. There's no opportunity for me here. There's going to be a training class, but it's in 6 months. Or, I'm not qualified to learn that because I'm not in the right position or the right job. Like, it's all broken. It's very, very broken. So, whether I say we should blow it up or, it's going to blow up naturally. This is happening in university. This is happening in K through 12 education. Education as a whole, knowledge as a whole, is being transformed in front of our eyes. And anyone that thinks there's going to be any resemblance to what it was, 2 or 3 years ago, it's going to be personalized, it's going to be relevant, and it's going to be focused. It's not going to be these long compliance-based things. There'll still be a compliance component to it, but overall, it's going to be much more focused.
Thank you, Sir Jason. Now, are you good for just one more question? I know it's already almost 12 p.m. here in the Philippines, and it could be 8 p.m. in California.
Oh, it's almost 9 o'clock here.
It's 9 o'clock? No, we're sorry for that. We're extending.
No, I'm doing another session with India in a couple hours. So
wow,
I'm good.
Thank you, sir. So for the last question, we'll be combining one anonymous attendee's question and Elaine Manuel's question. How can HR transform from a traditional to digital? What are the platforms HR must know? And how can we effectively do the transition from the old process to the now of work while doing the present workloads in front of us?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. So let's talk about the concept of trans first of all. So when we think about trans, when you had a question to me, you used the root trans twice. You used it in transformation and you used it in transition. Okay, trans means move. Okay, trans means move. So the question you have to ask yourself, first of all, when you think about that is, am I moving from one thing to another?
Yeah.
So am I moving technology? Am I just lifting and shifting processes? Or am I transforming? Which means I'm really moving how work gets done. Okay. So there are people that do process and technology transitions. And then all of a sudden they go live and people are like, this is the same thing we had before. Only a new piece of technology. That's a transition. A transformation is truly changing how work gets done. It's moving how work gets done. Okay, and I would say that technology transitions are almost worthless right now. If you're going to do a technology transition without doing transformation, it better be for just cost, and it better be, I'm not even sure what, because it's a waste of time. Because what you're going to do is you're going to do a transition, and then you're going to say, wow, we should have done a transformation. Just do them at the same time. It's going to save you a lot of money and a lot of resource. But when I think about the question about digital, digital once again is a mindset. When you think about the technology, what you want to think about is oftentimes we get stuck on saying we need to buy one piece of technology to do everything, or one platform to do everything. What's most important is that we create journeys for our employees that actually make it seamless as to how many pieces of technology they're using. So when you think about the way that you digitally transform and tie this together in a way that makes sense to the employee, you think about what's your experience layer? That could be a portal, it could be an intranet, whatever you call it. Where do people go through their journeys? And by the way, anyone that wants to talk more about this, I could talk about this all day long, but I don't want to get too technical right now. Second is you want to think about what are your transactional tools. Okay, what's your tool for recruiting? What's your tool for your core system? What's your tool for payroll? It could be one system, it could be multiple systems. How do you determine if it's one system or multiple systems? What drives your competitive edge? What do we want to be great at versus what is it okay to be okay at? And then underneath that, I want to think about how do I integrate all of that together to be able to use the data in a way that makes sense. So I have an experience layer, I have a transactional layer, and then I have a data layer. Now, that might be all in one piece of technology. Okay, it might be in 50 pieces of technology. Neither one of them is bad. But what's important is that you think about what the strategy is to put those pieces of technology in place, how you want to sequence them. And at the end of the day, who's the judge and jury? Okay, who's the judge and jury? The judge and jury in the world of digital transformation is the employee, the manager, and the leader. Okay, so that being said, how do I design with them in mind, with the experience in mind, not with the user interface? Because once again, I could have the best user interface in the world, but if the experience isn't good, I order a pizza. I have a great user interface with my pizza app. But if the pizza that I order isn't what shows up, guess what? Bad experience. Do I go back? No. Just like you think about it, how many times you download an app from the App Store you don't like? A lot. Do you ever go back? No. So we have to think about who's our judge and jury. It's the employee, the manager, the leader, which means we have to have a minimum lovable product, not a minimum viable product when we think about rolling or deploying these capabilities to the workforce.
Wonderful answer. Thank you so much, Sir Jason. And thank you, Elaine Manuel and Lalaine Lizardo, for your questions. Sir Jason, the last minute of our webinar is called The Takeaway. We have received so much information from you, passionately shared by you, and we felt how you are making HR people purposeful in this time of COVID-19 crisis. So if there's one thing you'd like us to think about before we go to sleep tonight, what will that be, Sir Jason?
So I'm going to tie it back to, a lesson that is why we named our company Leapgen. Mm-hmm. Leapgen actually means something. And the part of it that means something is the word leap. Leap. Okay. And this comes from a gentleman named Steve Farber, who wrote a book called The Radical Leap. Okay. And what LEAP stands for is the L stands for love. The E stands for energy. The A stands for audacity. And the P stands for proof. So how do you love what you do, which generates the energy to do the audacious, to continue to prove that value and do that in a continuous way? And if you live your life that way, thinking about it's our time to leap, but the way we're going to leap is by loving what we do, which is giving us energy to do the audacious and to unlearn and then prove the value of what we're doing to really create this now of work together. If we make that leap together, intentionally thinking about those words, our results are going to be amazing.
Thank you so much, Sir Jason. Everybody, put your hands together for our international speaker today, Sir Jason Averbook. Sir, from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you for your passion, for your purpose, for your genuine care, for your empathy, for compassion. And not only that, thank you for making us believe that we can turn this moment around. And thank you for your love. We felt your energy. And thank you for being audacious. Continue being that. And keep on proving and help us prove the world that we are still in control and we can change for the better. Thank you, Sir Jason. And God bless your next webinar with India. Keep touching lives. And we hope to see you soon in person here in the Philippines.
Would love to. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Everybody, again, big hand for Sir Jason. And as Sir Jason fades out of the screen, fades in our President, Miss Irish Malonda Samson. Hello, Miss Irish. Good morning.
I'm back, Sir Howard.
Yes, you are.
Yes, that was a
Wow.
lot. That was a wonderful session by Mr. Jason Averbook. Thank you for sharing us the 10 guideposts for the now of work.
Wow.
So with that, a big hand to Mr. Jason Averbook.
Wonderful and a wonderful human being.
Yes, I agree. Sir Howell, your takeaway.
My takeaway is that, well, he mentions about the people data when we used to count people, but now is the time for us to make people count, and how everything is every decision we make should be considering first and foremost the people, and that's the most important thing. And we saw it in him. He truly is a people person, and he's not only inspiring, he is impassioned. And which is why us as leaders, we need not be focused on results alone. Results will come if we'll do exactly what Sir Jason has told us, that we lead with empathy. And that's my greatest
Wow,
takeaway.
that was great. To add up on that, let's be a manager and leader of work. So let's start to manage and lead, be a leader of life.
Wow.
My
Beautiful.
takeaway,
Mhm.
got lots of notes here. Of course, accept, analyze, and adapt. As an HR, we need to spearhead the and embrace the digitalization and involve the whole organization in the digitalization as well. So one quote from Sir Jason: "Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, but learning to range in the rain." So
Dance in the rain. Yeah,
wonderful.
that's also my favorite quote. I have a lot of favorites, but dancing in the rain. I imagined myself dancing in the rain when he said that.
And of course, thank you, Sir Howell, for moderating our session this morning. I will be seeing you
Yeah.
this afternoon for
At 3
another
p.m.
e-learning session. Yes,
3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Don't go away. May announcement pass, Miss Iris.
Yes, thank you so much. And guys, this is not yet the end of our e-learning session. I have a lot of few reminders and announcements to make still. Okay. We would like to thank our following win-win partners. We would like to thank our official media partner, Earthbuzz Magazine, Focus Media, Globaltronics, City Advertising Ventures, Outcome, Elevate Media. For win-win partners, thank you to Brother, Faber Castell, Gluta C, Moringa O2, KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo, Lotus Biscuit, Boss Job, Sir Technology Inc. Thank you Pinma Properties, Salary Jet, Ilawi Korea, Kitosun and Carpo Consulting, Enchanted Kingdom, Disperse, Cosmotech Philippines Inc. Manchom's virtual preschool program. To register, please call them at 0906-486-0710 or email them at disakanabe@mindchomps.org. And if you want to place your ads here, advertise your company, your logo, your services, have a brand exposure to thousands of viewers through Zoom, FB, YouTube, and LinkedIn, please email us at marketing@ariva.com.ph. And stay on top of our insights and updates. If you want to learn more about Ariva, please stay connected and visit us on our social media pages. So please join our Ariva Academy Facebook group, like our Ariva Academy Facebook fan page, follow Ariva Academy LinkedIn page, and visit our website www.ariva.com.ph. And if you want to watch again the replay of our e-learning session this morning and the previous e-learning sessions that we had, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. For our upcoming online learning sessions, we would like to invite you again for our HR Virtual Summit PH 2020. This is a live webinar series for our cause, and we have invited international and global subject matter experts to share with us their wisdom in the HR field. And Mr. Jason Averbook is one of them, of course. Please visit our website. It's www.ariva.com.ph to register. This will be later afternoon, 3 to 4:30 p.m. We will be having going beyond coaching, turn to counseling team members in a COVID-19 situation. And we have invited again Professor Ricky De Vera to discuss this session. Breakthrough in times of crisis, how to maintain a positive state of mind during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this will be tomorrow, May 21, 3 to 4:30 p.m. And we have invited the happy doctor, Dr. Suresh Devnani. Streamlined employee engagement in the time of crisis. This will be on Friday, May 22 in the afternoon. And we have invited Ms. Mila Pascual Nudosu to discuss this session. The power of success attitudes become the person who can change during a crisis. And this will be discussed by Coach Eric Manalo. So don't forget to register May 26, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Another live webinar series for a cost transformational storytelling for a landscape of crisis and beyond. This will be discussed by Dr. Tanvi Gautam, and this will be on May 27, next week, Wednesday, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Another live webinar series for a cause, an astronaut's perspective. Expand your perspective to possibilities for growth during COVID-19. This will be next week, Thursday, May 28, and this will be discussed by Ms. Rafia Sultana from Singapore. And if you want to customize an in-house e-learning session for your company, for your team, you would like to invite our Ariva Partner Speakers Bureau, and you would like to invite our international subject matter experts, please call me at 0916-695-4418 or email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us this morning. Hope to see you again this afternoon. This is Irish Malonda Samson in Ariva. It's all about being better, be safe, and stay home. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Happy, sha-la-la. It's so nice to be happy, sha-la-la.